By now you might be aware of what's going on with Burning Lands and the fact that it's having a Chernobyl style meltdown where some people are refusing to take the blame and others are throwing out accusations, and we're going to talk about it, and I will try to lay out the facts. I will give you my personal opinion here and there, and I'm not going to call this a scam primarily to protect my ass, and I'm not going to tell you to revoke your pledge, but I will leave the Kickstarter link in the description if you, as a grown man with a wife and kids, would like to revoke or update your pledge based on this information that you should be aware of. But at the moment of writing this, the Kickstarter has fallen below its pledge goal, meaning everyone should be refunded either way. Great for you guys, but for me and the other content creators and pre-Kickstarter backers, we won't be seeing that money back. Shermanator tried and publicly released this statement saying what happened when he did. I don't care about my money, I'll flip some burger patties and upload videos and I'll get it back through that. But let me set the scene. It's 4 AM. I've been drinking my favorite JMO and Coke and was reading how to quit Reddit because I am a degenerate with a Reddit addiction. My phone was on sleep mode, which meant I didn't see any of the notifications, and I woke up at 3 PM the next day, about 6 hours after the Burning Lands AMA event started and about 10 hours after everything went down. I crack open a Monster energy drink and check my notifications to multiple people DMing me saying everything is gone tits up. Through my groggy eyes, I see an announcement by the lead dev and I'm like, what the fuck has happened? And I quickly pieced together that the game is in crisis. It felt like I had woken up and the stock market had crashed like in 2008 and I lost my investment. And I just wanted to find out who was responsible for this mess. But to understand that, we need to go back in time prior to the Kickstarter's release. The devs had raised concerns saying they wanted a board of directors, they wanted the lead owner, I'm not naming names, should take up a general developer role, and the biggest thing is financial transparency. The devs' concerns were not resolved and went on strike. Knowing this though, the certain person opened up pre-Kickstarter backing. It's not a secret anymore, but anyone that was in that program, such as myself, had to pay over 100 Australian dollars. Really, I haven't heard that from any other game developer. Like when it comes to After Conflict, for instance, that I just got a DM saying, hey, here's a free game and make a video on it and we'd love to have you engaging in our community. And I do get emails from multiple companies with that same agreement. However, his reasoning when it comes to Burning Lands is that you're gonna back the game anyways and you're gonna probably make more money in return, which did have some truth to it, and I was sort of blinded by that ideal. And I just wanted to say that if any content creator says they aren't financially motivated, except for maybe Mr. Beast, well, they're lying, just to put it out there to be financially transparent on my end. I saw this as an investment that could turn into thousands of dollars in profit, but the thing that stung the most is that the devs didn't see a cent, especially since it went into the lead developer's personal PayPal account, which also prevents any chargebacks. The reasoning for this is because people could allegedly refund the money and still keep the game, which I don't know how true that is because I know developers can ban accounts on Steam, especially if they violate an NDA, but I don't want to be specific in the next thing that I'm about to say, but hypothetically, someone was told that the Kickstarter was in a good spot, the devs were excited for the release, and there will be full steam ahead in January, and the person that received that information has told me that they feel deceived and lied to as a result. But you see, the thing is, right, I had a hunch, and my biggest regret is not reaching out to the devs before this to ask if everything is okay, since they didn't show up to the pre-Kickstarter testing, which I thought was odd. Wouldn't you want to try out your own game with the people that are backing you? The community manager had left, which also sent alarm bells to me because, like, you know, the game's about to release. Like, this is a very high point for the game. Why would you release now? Is it personal or what? But one really frustrating thing is that, you know me, I'm not very consistent as I used to be when when it came to uploading, and I do like to have some time to prepare something good. And when I got told that the Kickstarter was being announced, I had, I think, about a day to cook something up, which is why I was one of the later YouTubers to get a video out. And truthfully, it did feel a little bit rushed, if I'm being honest. But another concern of the devs is that they didn't believe the quality was good for release, and to some extent I do agree with that. They did have a good foundation. However, I was a little bit hesitant and worried because I'm like, you know, there's still a long way to go and people are backing this, so I'm hoping that when January comes for full steam ahead that, you know, they're gonna really up the quality, but you know, that's most likely not going to happen now. But this is right before Kickstarter release, and the strike and the concerns were not resolved, and Kickstarter was launched without a confident and willing team to work behind this project. And honestly, I myself feel a little bad knowing that I told some of you to get this project without knowing this information. I know it's not my fault, but I just feel frustrated and deceived as a result. While the donations were pouring in, I was happy that this game is going to happen. Alongside the announcement that 83 was making a resurgence, I thought 2024 was going to be my year when it comes to YouTube content, but the devs, in a last-ditch effort, decided to drop the equivalent of a nuclear bomb by saying that each and every one of them were no longer wanting to work on this project until their conditions were met. Now, there is a 3-hour Discord call with some of the devs that you can see here, but in it, some of the devs have stated there was an incident with a developer's father having cancer and not having the required time to meet deadlines for this project. And as a result, they were treated poorly, which is just heinous to think about because, you know, I'm gonna monologue here for a second. My grandma, back in 2015, she had stomach cancer, or colon, I don't remember, I don't want to, but you know, it made a resurgence, it was gone, it came back, and my dad, he had a pretty shitty boss at the time, and he didn't spend enough time as he wanted to flying to Greece to spend time with her because he thought that he'd jeopardize his job, and that's one of his biggest regrets. And from my own advice, it doesn't matter, screw your boss. If you want to go spend time with a dying family member, then by all means, go do it. But I will bring up some of the arguments that people are bringing up, and to get to these conclusions, I had to sift through a lot of shit because you had people accusing the developers, and mind you, I'm not a left-leaning person. That's as much as you need to know about me when it comes to politics, but some of them were saying that what the devs are doing is communism, like, oh, wanting financial transparency and a more professional work environment is like, I'm not a communist. My grandpa killed communists in Greece, and even I felt offended for communists for being put into this little bracket. Oh my goodness. But one argument that I see on the pro or anti-developer side is that why would they wait 2 weeks after the Kickstarter launched? It seems like they've done this on purpose to get a piece of the pie as well as to derail this project. However, apparently these power struggles with the devs and the lead guy have been going on for over a year, and this was like a last-ditch effort to bring attention to the community to be aware of what they're getting into, because there were talks of getting an outsourced developer team, which I do not agree with, because the game is only as good as the developers that work on it. Because when it comes to 83, I know that a lot of the people that worked on RS2, or RS1 are going to still be working on 83. I don't want 83 if it wasn't made by the guys that made RS2, because I know that they have a level of quality and gameplay style that I can enjoy. Same with Cyberpunk 2077. You know how the bloody management and the fucking shareholders butchered the game as a result, because the developers, I think they did a fantastic job given the time constraints that they were given. If you haven't played the Phantom Liberty DLC expansion, whatever, go get it. It's phenomenal because they had the actual appropriate amount of time to work on it and better conditions, I imagine, and it just goes to show you just how good Cyberpunk could have been if they maintained that same quality in the base product. But once again, management strikes again. Another thing thing that I've seen is the developers being given unrealistic expectations to complete tasks. And mind you, they're not getting paid. They still have to work to pay rent as well as get food and provide for the family, because initially this project started as a passion project from ex-developers from the Squad Australia faction mod. And even though I work in fast food, I just know how annoying management can be when it comes to time constraints, especially with the drive-thru. Oh, a customer wants to sit there for 5 minutes being a dick and complain. I'm having the bloody franchise owner ringing up the manager to bitch and say like, oh, why is the drive-thru time slow? And we're like, oh, but you know, it was the customer's fault. It's like, no, don't give a shit. It's your fault. It's just so unrealistic, the expectations that people in positions of power can wield over, you know, the ground troops that are trying to do the best with what they have. And even right now on the Discord, I can see an ex-developer saying that it was agreed to work 5 hours per week because I'm bloody working 2 jobs over here. Now, some other allegations that people are making is that the devs just weren't working hard enough or efficiently enough, and that essentially they can suck shit because if they wanted a better contract, because by the way, they are apparently contractors and not full-time employees, but I mean, come on. Now, one of the worst parts that I've seen is that some of the developers that went on strike were fired, and I'm not too vested in Australia independent contractor laws. However, in Australia, it is illegal to fire an employee who's striking. You can complain all you want about some of the crappy laws, which I do agree with that this country has, but I will say that we do have some very good employee laws, as well as some pretty decent unions. But another disagreement between the lead guy and the devs is that they try to sort of come to an agreement. However, they essentially felt that it was going on deaf ears and that they weren't being worked with. However, the lead dev has said, hey, like, the door's open, you know, we can discuss this, but it's just been a mess all around because the devs don't feel like they can actually get anywhere to provide a better structure for the company that'll make the direction and development much better. But the thing is, after making this video, there is a chance that I could be removed from the content creator program, and I mean, I am okay with that because when it comes to it, in the end of the day, even if the game still releases somehow with a new dev team and no funding, the tactical shooter community is small. Word spreads fast, and especially if you don't have community clans backing you, then the game is not going to live too well. The game or the product has a stain to it. It is permanently marked as that game with this drama. This isn't like Battlefield or Call of Duty where millions of people are supporting it and people will forget the next day, especially since I don't think there's really any community servers or community clans for Battlefield 2042. Yeah, people still play that because it's a fucking Battlefield. Of course people are gonna play it, irregardless of how shit the product is. But when it comes to a niche tactical shooter, then I don't believe it'll be able to live up to what it was supposed to be. But there's also been some pretty not nice things said by the lead developer to other YouTubers who he was reaching out to promote his game, saying that, you know, if you're only interested in getting a free copy and early access, you just have to rethink. We want people that are dedicated to this product, which to an extent I understand, but you gotta understand, us YouTubers, we wanna make money, we need content. We'll promote your product, assuming that it's good, we'll make money, you'll make money from the sales, everyone wins, everyone is happy. And HexDK, I love that man. He's a great guy. I've spoken to him plenty of times. He was interested in this and I sort of laid out the facts to him before all this went public, and he's like, yeah, I mean, I'd be interested in covering this product, but you know, the developer told me that I don't upload enough and that it's just not worth it to him. And now I know that he's laughing. If he's watching this, he's fucking laughing about it, but looping back to the whole PayPal stuff, I'm just upset that the devs probably didn't see any of that money. I don't know where that money went to other than his personal PayPal, which I told my mates about it in real life and like, bro, like, Tantu, why would you do that? You're an idiot, mate. And I'm like, oh no, it's gonna be a good game, it's a good investment for me, and they just laughed at me, and I should have heeded the warnings now that I know. But the last thing I'll say on this is that there was a developer AMA happening at the time when I was still asleep, and apparently it was just not good from what I've heard, and the developers were actually holding their own AMA and essentially shit talking, and I wish I was there to witness it. And I believe in the lead person's AMA, he said, I think it was along the lines of PR is PR, like, you know, oh, this will blow over, it brings attention to the game, you know, I don't really care, which I think is not the right mentality to have about this. But moral of the story, I'm gonna write this off as a loss on my taxes. I don't think I can do that, but I'm gonna do it anyways because that's what it is to me. Even if the game goes ahead and is developed, it's been marked, the game, unfortunately. Like, people are not going to forget this. I feel like tactical shooter YouTubers have a better memory than when it comes to AAA video games. All in all, I'm not telling you to refund your product or get a refund on Kickstarter, but if you do have a change of heart after all this information, then you know where to do that. But nonetheless, this has just been a terrible situation all around, and I'm gonna end today's video there. If you did enjoy it, please do consider leaving a like, subscribing, and sharing the video with your friends. Anyways, my name is Tan2, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.